To a wild situation at the Suez Canal where we had breaking news overnight that their cargo ship that's been stuck delaying millions of dollars an hour in goods has finally been partially refloated. Joining us now to talk about the latest on this is business and market analyst Seth Denson. Seth, good morning to you and thanks for joining us.
Morning, Rachel.
Now, initial reports said that 1,300-foot, 200,000-ton Ever Given, as it's called, got wedged in the canal because of high winds and a sandstorm. And now we're hearing authorities saying possibly more so because of human error. What's the latest?
Yeah, I don't know that we really know right now. Certainly when this is all said and done, there'll be an investigation. But I got to tell you, on my little fishing boat, I've got a depth finder that helps me stay out of the dredge. So I got to think that these big ships, as technologically advanced, have sonar capabilities. And while they're claiming it was high winds and lack of visibility, and I'm sure that's important, you got to think about how many of these containers were on there. Visibility is probably already pretty hard. They got to rely on their technology. If they weren't keeping up with that technology and doing proper maintenance, that could be a problem.
Can you imagine being the person or people responsible? Now, we know tugboats and dredgers have been working to move that massive ship, Seth. Hundreds of boats have been lined up, though, in a even more massive traffic jam waiting to pass through. So how much trade are we talking here, and when do we think things are going to get back to normal? We just saw a little bit of improvement over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about just in the 6 days, somewhere close to probably around $90 billion of trade. Some estimates as low as $60 billion. But still, when you're talking 60 or 90 billion, that's a lot of goods that are passing through this. Remember, this is one of the 3 largest trade routes in the world. And so it has effectively been shut down. But there's a secondary issue here. Ships, instead of going on their normal route, are now heading south around the Cape of Good Hope. And that's going to delay shipping going forward. So this could have an impact, not just this week, but in the weeks to come.
Well, you talk about that going around Cape Hope, going through Africa. There also seems to be concerns about pirates, a real legitimate issue that people still like to poke fun at, but it is a concern down there. That could increase cost and shipping times. How much of an added issue would that be?
Well, just from a cost perspective, you're looking at about an additional $1 million in just the shipping cost just for fuel. So you've got that. Then you have the time impact, right? So again, it's about 14 days to go around the Cape. But you mentioned another point, and this is a valid point, is the risk of pirates. I mean, we had a movie. You talked about Tom Hanks a minute ago, right? There's a movie recently about this. But the reality is a lot of these cargo ships, because going through the Strait of Hormuz and the Suez Canal, they're not allowed to have arms. So not even small arms. So they're going down this area and they're unarmed, and that leaves them vulnerable.
I don't think people were even thinking about that initially. It was just, okay, the ship's blocked. We got to get it out. We got to get trade back to going. And now there's so many alternate routes that are going to cause concern. Now, we did see a little bit of improvement, as we mentioned, over the weekend. There was quite a celebration because of that. And I believe we have that queued up if we could play that for you. All right, Seth, we hear all the horns honking, lots of the tugboats there, the dredgers that were trying to move this. This moved 2 inches. After all that work, 2 inches is all we got through, right?
It's a game of inches, right? I don't know if I was watching that or a soccer game, but nonetheless, hey, listen, let's celebrate the victories, but let's get it out. I think right now the stern is free. That's the latest that I've heard, and it's moved about 100 feet. So I got to think those horns are going off a lot right now. But we still got a little ways to go to get this thing completely free.
All right, yeah, that shot we were just showing was the latest we had. All right, let me ask you real quick before we go, because this is something that I think people are watching at home initially thought, all right, that's wild to see, something we haven't seen before, but it probably won't affect me. How does this actually affect the consumer?
Well, again, in 2 ways, timing and cost, right? The longer that these things are delayed, you got cost and demand issues that are going to play into it. Those ships and containers that are going to have to go around the Cape of Good Hope, that's going to be an additional cost. But timing, Rachel, we joked about it last week a little bit about your Amazon Prime package might be delayed, but that's reality. This could delay you getting some of the goods and services you might need.
And we know how much that drives the people insane. All right, Seth Denson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Rachel.